Recently, my bandmate Chandler and I were discussing how we wanted to record 10 more songs by The Revelator. And when we started talking about acoustic guitar recording, we both realized that in the past, we haven't actually chosen the way we wanted to record acoustic as much as we've been backed into a corner and had to use that setup. For me, that was a literal corner. When I recorded acoustic on Removing a Heart, I had basically one corner of my bedroom in front of a closet full of clothes where I had arranged some sound treatment and could confidently record using a cardioid mic pattern. Now we have this sound-treated studio and a few more mics than we did last time. So we decided to do a little mic testing to see how our acoustic guitars respond to the mics that we have and if our preconceptions of those mics are accurate. The 5 mics we had were an SM57, the Stellar CM6, an old favorite of the gear page, Document Audio's DA67, Beyerdynamics MC930, and the MXL V67. And the guitars we had were Chandler's vintage Martin 0017, his Guild M20, a 3/4 scale nylon string, and my 60s Martin D35, L00, and the Stella rubber bridge guitar that I built. Now this was not a test to decide which of these guitars or mics was the best for recording acoustic, more to help us find out more about our gear so we can make informed decisions while recording. When inspiration strikes, we don't want to feel like we need to test out different mics or guitars to see which one's best. We want to be able to stay in the moment, feel the vibe of the song, and then make a choice based on the part that we're tracking. For the testing, we used all the mics in the cardioid setting, with the mic placed 1 foot from the joint where the neck of the guitar meets the body. And on each of the guitars, we each played 3 songs, 1 strummed, 1 finger-picked, and 1 using arpeggiated picking. That way we would both play each of the guitars with the main types of playing that we would choose an acoustic for, and with each of our individual styles. The main difference there being that I tend to use a pick when I play, and Chandler doesn't use a pick for acoustic or use fingernails when he fingerpicks. We learned pretty quickly that our 2 least favorite mics were the SM57 and the MXL V67. And that's not to say those were bad mics or that you can't get good results using them, they were just a bit redundant within our arsenal. We found the SM57 to cover pretty similar range to the CM6 tube mic, with a bit less low end and less perceived detail. And the MXL we found to be pretty similar to the DA67, although quite a bit darker. I think both these mics could definitely have their place, we just probably wouldn't reach for them first because they're similar to other mics in our arsenal. As far as the other mics were concerned, there were a lot of small differences that we noticed, but in broad strokes, the CM6 was the brightest of the bunch with a distinct mid-hump. The MC930 was darker and the most focused sounding, and the DA67 was similar to the CM6 but not quite as mid-forward and overall leaned a bit darker. Now if we had to pick one of these mics as a go-to, it would probably be the CM6 in most cases, which just sounded great on everything, and that was a bit surprising to us because of our favorite 3 mics, that was actually the cheapest one. And you can often find it used on Reverb or Craigslist for around $400. We definitely started to notice the deeper we got into testing that the Martin sound is very much a thing. Even though the 2 Martins we played were made in different decades with different body types, mine being a Dreadnought and his being Martin's Grand Concert model, and even made with different woods. Mine is a spruce top and rosewood back and sides, and Chandler's is all mahogany. They really were the 2 most similar sounding of all the guitars. I don't even know exactly how to describe it, but they really shared a distinct Martin sound. And that is really great to know because if we ever want to record 2 acoustic guitar parts on something and want them to have a bit of contrast, we would not use those 2 together, even though they are individually our 2 favorite acoustics. We also noticed that certain guitars paired really well with certain mics. We'd been expecting to like Chandler's Guild M20 for a lot of the finger picking, that's famously a guitar that Nick Drake used, but we really weren't impressed with it until we heard it with the DA67. Somehow that mic just brings out more from that guitar. It's a bit hard to describe, but it sort of smoothed out the honkiness of that guitar that we heard with all the other mics. And we noticed something very similar recording the Rubber Bridge. When recording that guitar with most of the mics, the transient sound of my fingernails on the strings picked up so loud it almost overwhelmed the sound of the guitar. But when recording that guitar with the darker mics, the DA67 and the MC930, that sound was really smoothed out and we got more of the sound that we wanted from that guitar. Again, there also might be times where you really want that transient sound, so it might just vary part to part which one we choose. So if this isn't telling us which guitar or mic is the best, or even which mic we want to use with which guitar in each case, what is it really good for? I'll walk you through the way this influenced our thought process for something that we recorded recently. We just started recording Chandler's first solo album, and the first song that we started recording on that record is an instrumental, so we knew we wanted that guitar to sound really full and big in the stereo field. To create that fullness, we decided to first try using a mid-side setup, where you use one mic to record the center of the stereo field in a cardioid setting, and a second mic in a figure 8 pattern to pick up the sides that the cardioid mic is missing. Just based on what we remembered from our testing, we decided to start with the Beyerdynamic MC930 as our mid mic because it had a pretty focused sound and we wanted a darker sounding mic to capture the center channel of that guitar. And then to provide some balance for the sides, we opted for the Stellar CM6 as our figure 8 mic because it was a bit brighter and we thought that might balance it out. Basically, as soon as the tube mic warmed up, we knew that was a great choice. And my favorite thing about that wasn't just that we made that decision quickly, but that we made a creative choice and felt confident and informed in the decision we were making. And in case you want any proof that it sounded good, here's a little sample of that recording. So that's given us a lot to think about as we begin recording, and now I'm curious to hear what you are doing to test equipment and help you make decisions in your recording. Are you running experiments like this and taking notes, or more just running on vibe? And are there any ways that testing your gear has surprised you and made you rethink the choices that you make? I'd love to hear about that, so go ahead and leave us a comment or shoot us a message, and for now,